I'm going to jump right in. We're going to take it really easy. We're going to ease into the presentation. We're going to try to avoid any controversy while I'm up here today. What? Oh, so has everybody seen this ad? I'm sure, right? I'm going to promise you this is not going to be any talk about politics, but I do want to ask a question. And I want you to think about this for a little bit. Why would Nike risk alienating their customers by putting an ad out like this? Don't answer that question yet. We'll come back to it. This is a bookstore that's around the corner from my house. I just read that Barnes & Noble lost like 7% in stock valuation a week or so ago. I'm sure everybody here remembers Borders Books. Borders Books went out of business a few years ago, tanked miserably. How is it that in the era of Amazon, local bookshops like the Doylestown bookstore or bookshop can survive? This is also another theater near me. I have it's really great, like the County Theater. 2017 was the lowest in ticket sales in like the movie industry since I think 1992. Yet the County Theater thrives. They're actually expanding into that space on the side of the building. So how is it that the County Theater can survive in that environment where ticket sales in the movie industry are tanking? So I want you to think about those three questions, but I'm going to tell you a story first. In the year 1999, I decided that I was going to learn Kendo. Does anybody know what Kendo is? Kendo is this, a couple people, Kendo is this Japanese martial arts. It's actually Japanese fencing. I'm a little embarrassed to tell you why I wanted to learn Kendo, but we're all friends here, so I'm going to talk about it. So, in 1999, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace came out. And we can argue about the merits of that movie versus all the other ones. I have very strong opinions, and I'm the only one that's right there because I'm up on stage. But I watched a making of video, and they were talking about how they choreographed the lightsaber fights, and they were talking about Kendo. And I'm like, oh my God, I can learn Kendo. So I opened up the Yellow Pages, because in 1999, a lot of businesses were not on the internet, and found a local dojo that offered Kendo. So I pick up the phone and I call up, and what sounded like an older gentleman answers the phone. I'm like, "Hi, my name is Joe. I want to learn Kendo." And I think I used like some kind of code word with him because there was like this long pause, and then he responds and he says, "How do you know Kendo?" So obviously I'm not going to tell him because I want to be Luke Skywalker, but I told him, all right, it's a beautiful martial art. I've learned about it. I'm really interested in studying it. And he said to me, he said, well, Kendo is only taught to the most serious martial artists. And I don't offer Kendo on its own, but I offer it as part of a ninja training class. I was like, all right, I'll be a ninja. He's like, so do you want to come down and learn about this? I said, sure. So the next day I go down to this gym and I walk into this sort of nondescript room, go up these stairs, these creepy old stairs, and I walk into this room and what do I see? I see freaking ninjas. There's ninjas everywhere. There's like people throwing ninja stars, there's this like net, people are climbing up it, everybody's wearing black, the whole ninja experience. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be a ninja. And then I feel this presence behind me. It's like when you can feel somebody staring at you. And I turn around and I look at this man, this old, Korean gentleman, and he looks at me, we make eye contact, and it was at that moment I realized I'm probably not what he's expecting. You can almost see the disappointment on his face. And he looks at me, and I'll give this guy credit, man, he could think on his feet. He said, well, if you want to learn about being a ninja, you have to pass a ninja aptitude test. The most ridiculous thing in the world. I'm like, all right, I'll do a ninja aptitude test, sure. So he starts having me do all these like exercises. He's like, has me do some stretching, do some push-ups, like basic strength training. And I'm like, I'm nailing this. This is great. I'm I'm going to be a ninja. And I think he realized, like, I was doing a little better than he was hoping for. So he ends the test like this, I swear to God. He tells me to lay down on the ground. Okay? Lay down on your stomach. So I lay down on my stomach. He says, okay, put your arms behind you. I put my arms behind me. He says, all right, now put your legs up. Okay, put my legs up. And in this final act of indignity, this 60-some-year-old Korean man reaches down, grabs my arms and legs, lifts me up, and begins shaking me. I did the only thing that anybody in this situation could do. I farted in his face. And he put me down, I stood up, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and we both kind of realized, like, all right, maybe you're not cut out to be a ninja. He actually suggested, maybe you want to try Taekwondo or karate. So I left a little bit disappointed, but upon further reflection, I realized, I've learned some really valuable lessons here. I like to learn from my experiences. The first lesson I learned is it's not just who your customer is, but also who your customer isn't. So who is his customer? Well, let's meet Steve. Steve, 24-year-old mechanic. This guy is a hardcore martial artist. He maybe already has his brown belt in karate. And he wants to stay in shape. So, he's lifting weights, on a regular basis. He's bulking up. And then there's me. At the time, I was a 28-year-old software engineer. I was not an experienced martial artist, but I love to watch Kung Fu movies. I didn't have a brown belt in karate, but I owned both black and brown. I think I'm still wearing one of them today. And I do like to stay in shape. I don't lift weights every, a couple times a week, but, I love a good rollerblade on the weekend. So clearly, I was not his ideal customer. But let's think about this for a second. Let's do a little thought experiment. What's the worst thing that could happen if he let me in? So I contend that, I should have been able to get into this class, but I kind of get where he was coming from. Imagine, if you will, because we're doing a thought experiment here, that I am training in this ninja dojo. And, I'm doing all of my ninja stuff, with all the real ninjas around me. And new potential students come into the dojo. And they see all this stuff, and then they see me, who looks like Chris Farley from Beverly Hills Ninja, right? This is going to devalue his brand. They're going to look at this and go, well, they're going to let anybody in. That's not going to, that's not where I would have trained. Steve came into that situation. Plus, it's just not, he recognized that this was not who, I was not his customer type. He probably realized, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time with this guy. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time, extra time training him. And he probably also recognized that he's not cut out to be a ninja. He's probably going to drop out. I'm not going to make as much money on him. So he created this ninja aptitude test to keep me out. So let's go back to the Nike ad. Why would Nike risk alienating their business by putting out an ad that was so politically charged? I contend that it's because they knew who their customer wasn't. Nike focuses mostly on inner cities, African American men. That's their primary demographic. They don't care about a couple dudes lighting their sneakers on fire. They're not making money off of those guys. They know who their customer is. In the county theater, they're looking for sophisticated people like me. They don't want teenagers coming in, so they've erected barriers, their ninja aptitude test, to keep those people out. Those people. Keep the kids, those pesky kids out. They don't have blockbuster movies. You couldn't go in there and get like a giant plate of nachos, right? They're framing their business around the type of customers they want to attract because they made it very clear on who they didn't want to have in. So what's your ninja aptitude test? These are some things you should be thinking about. What are the barriers that you can erect to keep your anti-persona out? The people that you don't necessarily want to attract as customers. And you can think about that by asking yourself, are there certain customers that I have today that cost me more money to support or service? I'm sure everybody has those customers where you're like, oh my God, it's this person again. And are there customers that make requests from you that when you take them on, you think about in retrospect, this didn't really fit my strategic objective. It was sort of a one-off. If you have customers where you're thinking about them as a one-off, you should be thinking about ways to offboard them in your business. So that's the first lesson. The second lesson was focused on being different. So, who is Grandmaster Chang competing with? Well, if you do a search on karate schools in Philadelphia, you're going to come up with, dozens of different martial arts studios. Tiger Schulman's, Kim's Karate, Action Karate, and then there's Chang's TKA. Right? He's just sort of lost in the sea of all of these other karate studios. So what he had to do is he had to think about his business a different way. He had to think about what's a smaller segment I can go after. Right? I can go to Tiger Schulman's. They're going to take me, no problem. But, would Steve go there? Probably not. Steve's a hardcore martial artist. So he narrowed his focus to this sort of niche market of people who were hardcore into martial arts. So he set up his own area. And he differentiated himself from these other karate studios by doing ninja classes. I'll bet if you search for ninja classes, you're not going to find too many studios in the Philadelphia area where you can be trained to be a ninja. So he focused, he changed the game for himself. He focused on a different strategy. So Doylestown bookshop, it's really no different. Right? In the age of Amazon, people are going to go to Amazon for price and convenience. But the Doylestown, there's 2, maybe 3 local bookstores in Doylestown where I live. One of them is Used Bookshop, and then the Doylestown Bookshop. How do they differentiate themselves? Well, they're not worried about being price conscious. They're offering a different experience. They bring in local book authors. They bring in public speakers. You can use the space. They have basically concierge service. You go in, you get to meet the people that work there. I love when I can walk in there and I see a wall of book recommendations from the staff. Like, it creates a real personal connection. So you can see, just looking at this, right? You have Doylestown Bookshop on the one side that's focused on community atmosphere. And then you got Amazon, price, selection, convenience. Then you have Barnes & Nobles and Borders. They're stuck in the middle. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know how to support the customers they have. So it's really no surprise that they're struggling. You see the same problem in retail as well. You have, on the one side, you have, price-conscious businesses like Target and Walmart. And then on the other side, you have these specialty retailers. There's a great olive oil store in town. Right? I'm going to go there rather than try to guess on olive oils on Amazon, because it's a much more focused experience. But then look at Sears, right? Sears, the bastion of the retail experience, has been around for over 100 years. They're probably not going to be around much longer. They're continuing to struggle. And I can pretend it's because they're stuck in the middle, right? None of this should be surprising. There's a couple key strategies that I would say all businesses fall into. And this is not my idea. This is a theory put forth by a Harvard economist, Michael Porter, who says that all of these businesses are either going to be cost leadership businesses, businesses that differentiate themselves, or businesses that focus on a specific area. He further subdivides it into focus cost and focus differentiation. And that's where Doylestown Bookshop lives. They live in this focus differentiation space. It's where Chang's Karate lives. It's in that same space. Borders Group, they couldn't decide what they wanted. They were stuck in the middle. It's not surprising that they failed. So, when you're thinking about your business, focus on this. Do you know what strategy your business is falling under? Are you focusing on price leadership? Are you focusing on differentiating yourself? And if you can't answer that question, it's unclear, that should be a red flag for you. You should also be thinking about, can you move your business into a more focused category where you can own a niche market? And then finally, can you find ways, even within that niche market, to differentiate yourself? So, I never did become a ninja. I feel like, looking back, it's probably not the worst thing in the world. But I did learn a couple really great lessons that have helped me build a better product. Using an anti-persona, and then also being able to understand and focus on a focused differentiation strategy. Thanks, everybody.